Hey, welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. This is a podcast where we like to talk about anime, manga, give you some recommendations, and anime movies, which we'll talk about in a moment. But as always, I am your host, Zane Taicho. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Susu Day. How are you, sir?
It's another happy Saturday and a 3-day weekend. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
not gonna complain about that. I'm pretty good mood. Sun is shining.
Mm,
So anime is
it's
good.
nice. Yeah, great season. We're already in the midst of a spring season. How are you finding it so far?
Very good.
Yeah.
Like I've got no complaints. Honestly, I had fallen behind on a lot of the anime I was watching on the reg. So
hmm
I'm making a big sort of effort right now to get caught up on everything. I've just finished series 2 of the case study of Vanitas.
Oh,
I've
nice.
just gone up to date on Spy Family.
Yep.
You know, trying to like get through a load of anime that's on my lists, which I can now watch properly because of the Funimation Crunchyroll merger. Um,
Hey, there
but,
you go.
there are other things in life like video games and D&D and life in general, like work and stuff. So not enough hours in the day, and I've already cut out maybe 50% of the sleep I do need to do all of those things. So
Wow, what can I say? Except for Funimation and Crunchyroll should sponsor this podcast.
if they did, what a treat that would be.
Oh,
What
what
a
a treat.
treat.
Um, what else was I going to say? I was going to say something then. It's already escaped me. I guess we should say thank you to Cardiff Anime and Gaming Con for allowing us to come to the convention.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. Had a great time. If you haven't already, check out our Instagram or our TikTok, and you'll see some videos. That's, of course, Undisputed Anime on both platforms. But yeah, great time. You got a lot of things, didn't you?
Got a lot of. What is my dog doing? Ignore him. He's just being old. Yeah, I guess I did get a lot of stuff, but it's all very very small things. It's kind of like
Yeah.
unfortunately, as I mentioned many times on the day, the convention fell the day, like the weekend before I got paid. So I was walking around with pocket change and moths. So got some nice dice from a potion maker co.
Oh,
I had this on my desk for some reason, so I'm going to give him a shout out. If you want some wonderful homemade dice, give him a look.
there you
But
go.
got some stickers. So
It's
many
good
things that
though.
I wish I could have gotten, but
But at least it shows that there's something for everyone. Like you don't have to go in with a wad of cash
yeah,
to get a good,
there's
you
very
know.
affordable options there as well. And I
Yeah,
mean, you took it as a great opportunity to dip your toes into the world of Gunpla, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I have recorded a video for that as well. Funny enough, but we shall see. Yeah, it's. I bought my first Gundam figure, which I'm excited to jump into, and we'll see where that goes. But I guess we should crack on with the rest of the podcast. So, as we mentioned, we'll be giving our thoughts and review of the Netflix movie Bubble. But before all of that, it's our recurring segment, Oi Josuke. Now, if you're new to the podcast, Oi Josuke is our little new segment where we'll just recap some anime and manga news.
Yo, Josuke! 学校行こうぜ!
Hilarious. So in terms of some news, actually, I'm going to share my screen because we're doing this live on YouTube. If you didn't know already, so if you're listening to the audio version, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, and you can see some of the stuff we're going to share. So I don't know if you've already seen this, but Black Clover, the manga, will enter its final arc. Now, I know you're a big Black Clover reader. How are you feeling about this? Are you excited? Are you
I honestly
concerned?
shook,
Yeah.
because as we were discussing the other day with our other friend, it felt like it was it felt like this was the final arc. It felt like this was the culmination of all that story, and now they've just dropped a massive bombshell on us, and it's like, what? So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Like I do really enjoy it. I mean, I know the anime is a dividing subject for the community, because, and I think it's mainly because of Asta's voice.
Yeah.
That a lot of people just cannot get past it.
Yeah.
But it's very good. It's some of the good, like some good shonen battle manga.
That's what I hear about it. Like hands up, I haven't been following it. I fell off it. But from what I hear, it has some great fights, and again, the anime's had some great fight sequences. Everyone seems to love Yami, if I remember correctly, one of the captains.
Captain of the Black Bulls, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it seems, there is a lot of hype around it and such. It feels like almost like a generational thing of like certain mangas ending now, if you know what I mean. Because it's like Black Clover's ending. Of course, Demon Slayer ended a little while ago. My Hero Academia has been, rumored for a while now that that's possibly ending soon.
That's I mean, that feels like it's in the final throes of its life, but as with Black Clover, who knows what could happen?
Exactly. And I guess this kind of leads on to another sort of piece of news. Let me just show this. So the Fire Force anime is getting a season 3, which is exciting.
Wonderful. That is
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love the animation and stuff they've done previously. But just off the back of that, we've got the cover art of the final volume of Fire Force. So volume 34 will be the final manga issue of Final Force, as the manga has already ended in Weekly Shonen Jump. So again, another sort of manga in this sort of generation that's come to an end.
And boy, what an ending it was. Every single chapter leading up to the final chapter, it was confirming everything that everyone who's read the whole of Fire Force was thinking the whole time. And every single of those final chapters, it was just confirming it a little bit more, until it just like smacks us right in the face. So
drops that bombshell.
Yeah, and my honestly, my hope is that when they finish the Fire Force anime, or towards the end of the Fire Force anime, having reached its conclusion with the manga, that they'll announce a reboot of the other series.
Yeah,
I think it would be a great time to be like let's keep the ball rolling. Let's use this as an opportunity.
Do you think they should do like what Bleach did and just kind of continue where it left off, or do you think just complete restart? Like,
I think I would prefer a complete restart of it, because I think that there's a lot that they stuck to, but I think that there's they got to that one point and they were like, okay, this is it, this is the end, but the manga's not finished yet, so we don't actually know how it's going to end. So I'd love for them to just go from the beginning again and like condense it down.
No, it's a fair shout. I've heard a lot of people say the similar thing in the community and stuff, like on Reddit and other things. So yeah, I think it'd be cool. But talking of what is cool, and this was trending because it was so cool. One Piece episode
Oh my god.
1015 was trending worldwide, and the hashtag One Piece. I just can't get my words out today. Hashtag One Piece 1015 trending worldwide. Of course, a monumental episode, visually and emotionally, I guess.
It is just so good. Like this is like One Piece at its finest. Like they have been. I mean, if you read the manga, you're obviously past this. But it, like to be fair, like the manga isn't like too far ahead of the anime now.
Yeah.
With the way that they've been doing things, which is pretty cool. But it's like this has been getting set up for like tens of chapters. Like this encounter with the worst generation against the old generation is like so good, my friend, so good.
I
Can't
like
get enough of it.
how I like how the what was also trending was roof piece, which yeah, I just thought that was hilarious. But
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
animated beautifully.
Yeah, it's like there was so much interesting stuff that they did with that episode, with the color transitions and
yeah,
the like jumping it back and forth between the past and the present. It was super cool. So
it looks fantastic.
it's a good time to be a fan of anime manga. That's for sure.
Absolutely,
It's never been as good as it is now.
Yeah, that's true. And to be fair, you know, it's been around for 25 years and it's still holding up at such a great
It's
caliber. Like
standing with the best of them always.
yeah, absolutely. One last piece of news before we move on to the main topic. I don't know if you saw this already, but news that Netflix are going to be doing more animated movies in
Please do.
collaboration with Colorado Studio, or Studio Colorado, I should say. So starting with the movie Drifting Home, they've signed a deal where there'll be at least three. There'll be three movies, and again, including Drifting Home. This is a fantastic sort of little deal, I think. It just means that we'll be getting more anime on such a wide streaming platform.
I think
and
it's
to a bigger
also
audience.
I think it's also like really good because, as we've discussed on the show before, like Netflix has had a real hard time trying to get those anime worlds and stories to the mainstream viewer by making live action versions of those beloved stories. But what they've proven time and time again over the last couple of years is they are like the animations that they're putting out, like the animated series, are great. Like Castlevania, like Tiger and Bunny 2, like all these things that they're like back in now, and even their original stuff is just like so good.
Yeah,
Like so much
Blood of
better than their
Zeus.
live action stuff. Yeah, Blood of Zeus, absolutely amazing. So
Yeah, it's an odd sort of time to announce it as well, because like again, let me just share this quickly. Despite Netflix, subscriber loss for Q1 of 2022, the streaming giant continues to spearhead original content, particularly in animation, which has become one of its most celebrated forms of content. And I believe there were some news articles saying as well that they had stopped or cancelled a few animated projects that they had going already. But it seems like they're doubling down more on the anime content to opposed to the Western stuff that they had going on.
give the people what they want. So give the people what they want. Ultimately, this here would have been a great opportunity to roll right into the main topic, but I actually had another little bit of news that I don't think has been mentioned yet.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Blue Exorcist.
Yes,
Blue Exorcist is returning.
it is returning. Yes. Blue Exorcist. Actually, I believe we may have quote tweeted this on our Twitter. If you're not already following our Twitter, Undisputed Anime, twitter.com.
He's sifting.
I am. If not, it definitely will re-quote it now. Yes, here we go. Blue Exorcist was on the cover of upcoming Jump Square issue, which means, yeah, it'll be returning very soon.
And to be fair, like the last time there was an updated chapter was July of last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they've updated. They kind of, the Blue Exorcist and D Grey Man have both got this. They're such good stories, such good manga. But they've, and I mean, I don't fault like the author and the artists for not putting them out as regularly. Obviously, they're doing something that works for them. They're doing what they need to do, but they don't have a regular cadence of release. So sometimes you'll you'll get like 2 or 3 months where you'll get a chapter every single month, or maybe you'll get like a chapter every other week, and then you'll go for months then without getting another chapter. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see if they can get a regular cadence.
Absolutely. It feels like one of the unsung heroes, doesn't it? Like, Blue Exorcist, D Grey Man. I'm sure there's more out there, but it feels like that sort of 2010, dare I say, sort of period. There was kind of like these kind of fell under the radar, and I don't know if that's because like Tokyo Ghoul was so massive at the time. I want to say that was at a similar time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think good stories often get overshadowed by regular stories.
Yeah,
like regularly updating stuff often is more seen. It's more seen, isn't it? It gets shared more.
Yeah.
Whereas like with stuff that updates every month, once you're up to date on it, I think that a lot of people kind of forget about it. And then they'll like remember a couple of months later, and they're like, okay, I've got to catch up, I've got to binge on what chapters are now there, or start again.
Yeah. But at the same time, like we know that the anime is available on Netflix, funny enough, as well. Because we've spoken to, other anime watchers and people in the community. I think it's when we saw Sword Art Online, the movie. Someone told us that they've been watching it on Netflix.
Yes, that the one other guy who was there that late at night.
So yeah, I think that's fantastic news, and I'm happy to see that carrying on.
Absolutely.
Talking of Netflix again, a little movie came out called Bubble this week. Now, this is produced by Wit Studio, but of course in partnership with Netflix and also Warner Brothers. Ironically, it was one of the producers on this project.
That took me by surprise at the start.
Yeah,
like when we got the very Western Warner Brothers like reel.
Just I guess from a background point of view, Bubble has some of the most highly decorated directors, writers, producers. The staff on this is just insane. I know one of the musicians, dare I say, also works on Mob 100.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so some of these directors and such are, again, you'll recognize from other works. Whilst I pull up their details, what would you say the story was for this anime?
It was your classic boy meets girl in a
Mm,
fantasy in a kind of mix of real life and fantasy setting. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's really more that you can say about the setting. It's it's hard to describe what the movie is actually about.
Mm,
Because I myself found that there were points in the movie where I was like, I'm not really sure what the actual story is.
interesting. Okay.
Not in like a bad way.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of I think I've said this before on the show. I think when there are just sometimes there are stories that have that are like really really good,
Hmm.
but they would better be told in short form. So as like a shorter series, like a short series, where they would
Yeah.
have more time to kind of flesh things out. I feel like with this, it was visually stunning, that it
Hmm.
sounded amazing, and it was really exciting to watch throughout the most of it. Like
Yeah.
really cute story, but there was so much that wasn't explained or even hinted at. So I was getting frustrated as someone who's like into stuff like I really like to dive into the worlds. So I got
Yeah.
frustrated because I was like, I have no like it's not explained at all why this has happened. Like there's not even like a suspicion of what it is.
I
And I
see.
think that they could have explored it more. It could have been explored a little bit better in a series, but not to say it was bad. Like what did you think?
Um, so in terms of like direction and things of that nature, so just to give you some information dump, Tetsuyora Araki is famous from his works on directing Attack on Titan, Part 3, Season 3, I should say, as well as other projects. But I would say his most notable is Attack on Titan, Guilty Gear, which we've been big fans of in the past.
Absolutely.
Um, and yeah, absolute fantastic catalogue of work that he's done. Um, Takeshi Obata, who's famous for his character works from Edge and Platinum's End, Death Note, of course, monumental work that he's done in the past. Um, Also, he's been the author of those books as well. I don't know why I just said the artist. Of course, he's the manga artist on those. But I think Takashi Katagiri, who's worked with Studio Wit in the past on things like VV Song, Spy Family, Great Pretender. He was the assistant director, and I felt like it was kind of similar to his previous works in terms of pacing and things of that nature. But back to your original question on Bubble, I thought this was captivating. Like, I was completely engaged with this, where compared to other anime movies like Your Name, I disengaged in from an attention point of view. And I don't know if that's just because the way this is animated or the storytelling and things of that nature. But for me, this had so many sort of callbacks to other things, like, and you can say, oh, maybe I'm stretching, but Steven Spielberg's Encounters of a Fifth Kind, if I remember
Oh,
that's what
Close
it's called.
Encounters of the
Close,
yeah, Close
yeah.
Encounters.
The melody, this alien sort of otherworldly being, and such. Um, yeah, I was absolutely blown away by this, and I just thought it was undisputed
Yeah, no,
from start
I
to
would
finish.
I would agree. I would agree. I would definitely rate it as undisputed. I don't think it was bad in any
Mm,
sense. Um, like I said, it was visually striking.
Yeah.
Every single frame was beautiful.
Mhm.
And then you got those, like, some of the close-up frames
Oh
were
yeah.
just so wonderfully drawn. I think it was for me, it was just the pacing. I think like I said, I think that it felt like they had crammed so much in, but I didn't come out feeling, like sometimes you can watch something where they don't answer any of the questions about what's going on in it, and you're just kind of left to your own imagination. I'm kind of left with all these questions, but I can't even come to any satisfying conclusion to myself because they didn't give me enough. Like, it's like, why did the bubble fall happen? What are the bubbles? Are they are the bubbles like an alien force? Is this like a magical force? Like, it's like are all the bubbles sentient? Or is it only the female lead and her like sister who are like these sentient forces? It's kind of like, I've got all these questions now that I as someone who's like really, I like to really dive deep into the lore of stuff. Like I want to know those answers, and like I didn't even get like a snippet of what it could be. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go into spoilers stuff like that, but there is a point in the movie towards the end where you see snippets of the main character's memory. It's like, with regards to that, like, was it him? Was he the reason why it all happened?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like,
it's probably, it's safe to go into spoilers if you want to go into spoilers now. Like, I'd say we've given our sort of opinion, like safe opinion about it. So for those who are watching or listening, make sure to come back if you haven't already watched the movie and check out our spoiler review. You ready to go into spoilers?
Yeah, absolutely. Do it. Okay.
Let's
Tokyo Battle Core. Absolutely fantastic. Couldn't get enough of watching it. So much fun.
Yeah, that was that all that parkour sort of stuff. And here's the strange thing as well, like they in a lot of movies, parkour is always kind of a bit weird. I remember like in Divergence, they do a lot, they focused a lot on parkour in that, and it's kind of like a bit naff. But in this, it's just absolutely fantastic.
They really doubled down on it, didn't they?
Yeah, and the fact like there's this whole race and team effort around it as well is just fantastic.
So good, like that element of it, and I loved how these bubbles are everywhere, and like you can to some degree interact with them, and it's shown towards the very beginning that like you can use them to kind of enhance your like parkour, but there's only one person at the beginning of the movie who can consistently do it. Like there's like another character tries and flubs a jump as a result, but then like this other character comes along and he's able to just like skip about on them like they're nothing.
Yeah, you're right. The fact that they can use them almost like springboards and stuff like that is really cool. Yeah, the main character, what was your feels on him? Did you think he was a great main character, or?
I think he was he served his purpose as the main character. I think he was I think he one thing I will say is that his character growth in the movie was really good for the time that we had. We got to see, he starts off as this like really stoic antisocial character, and then throughout he kind of like starts to open up a little bit more, and then you find out why he's the way he is through like a flashback and him telling the story to someone, and then by the end of the movie he's just like he's come a long way. He's like grown so much.
Absolutely, yeah. It's as you say, it's a real sort of character growth in the movie, and I think the perfect symbolism of that was when he runs with Uta and his headphones come off, and
that's
he
like
doesn't
the old
instantly,
him, isn't it?
it's such a beautiful sort of little visual and nod to say like this is the final step of him coming out of that his shell and everything else. So yeah, I thought that was fantastic. Of course, it's during the midst of a race, so everyone cheering, saying "Go, go!" I was goosebumps. Like
Yeah,
it was
that
perfect.
was really good. And like we said before, like as they'd really doubled down on the parkour animation,
Hmm.
like the whole scene is really fun. Like the environmental design as well is just
Yeah,
stunning. Like they've taken like Tokyo, which is a city that if you're a fan of like anime or Japanese culture, you'll be really familiar with just from seeing in like lots of different mediums. But they've taken Tokyo and they've turned it into this completely different landscape where it's like the original bubble fall has caused the city to be completely flooded.
yeah,
So like people are living in boats or on top of buildings and stuff. Like there's loads of ruins, like there's these gravitational anomalies like in the water, which are
yeah.
called like antlion pits, which like suck everything down into them. And it's honestly like beautiful to look as a movie. It's a visual spectacle. It is
Mm.
so lovely to watch.
It is fantastic, and I guess similar to The Last of Us, they really show the beauty in like overgrown sort of
Yeah,
destroyed cities, and which doesn't sound great. It is a destroyed city, and
but
there's
there's a lot of some artists really capture nature taking reclaiming like the man-made worlds
yeah.
like so well, and this movie is a great example of that.
Also, you can really see the playground element of it. So you can easily see how it's formed when they're kind of looking for their route for, the parkour race or whatever it is. You can actually see the element of where they're going to jump and run and things like that, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
I thought that was really nice. Um, the underlying theme of all of this is a Little Mermaid story. This is like a
yeah.
sci-fi version of
It
the
is. It's
Little
a
Mermaid.
retelling, isn't it, of the
Yeah,
original, not the Disney version. This is a retelling of like the original author's story.
yeah.
Um,
Which kind of where the bubbles and the foam sort of idea come from, because in the original version of the Little Mermaid book, she disintegrates into foam bubbles and things of that
yeah,
nature.
she
Because
returns to the ocean.
yeah, because not all fairy tales and have a happy ending. Um, how did you feel about that Little Mermaid theme? Do you think it's slightly overplayed, or do you think it played to its strengths?
I think it played to its strengths. I think that uh, given Uta's background,
Mm,
she comes into the story as this girl who knows nothing, but
hmm.
she like continues to learn and
Yeah,
mature um, as a result of like the people around her and reading books. And I think that um, the story of the Little Mermaid that she reads
yeah,
kind of becomes this like kind of like guiding post for her and how she goes on to make her decisions moving forward, because she obviously sees the parallels between herself as the Little Mermaid and Hibiki as like the prince.
yeah.
And it's obviously mirrored to like it's obviously brought down to the extent that like whenever she comes in, and I'm not sure if it's that if she came into contact with anyone or if it
Hmm.
was just when she came into contact with him,
Yeah.
her human form would burst. Like she
Yes.
would like start to turn back into bubbles because spoiler alert, we're obviously in the spoiler cast now. Uta is like she's this like sentient bubble that I was talking about,
Hmm.
and at the beginning of the movie, she saves him by assuming a human form.
Yeah.
But every time she touches him, you like bubbles start to form on her body, and then he, in the race towards the end, he grabs her arm to help her get to the finish line, and her whole
Yeah.
arm just like disperses into bubbles, so she loses her arm, and there's no way
Mm.
for her to like get it back.
Yeah, she doesn't have any sort of regenerative powers or such.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's only with him because I'm pretty sure there's like a sequence where she hugs the scientist lady.
Yeah, she sleeps with her as well, doesn't she? It's like they sleep in the same beds when she
Yeah.
after a little while, don't they? So
Yeah. So and I think it's something to do with like when he breathed when he was originally drowning. There's the sequence, isn't it, where his last sort of breath, his bubble, um, collides with her in her bubble
yeah,
form, and it manifestates this, sort of
manifests
body
as like
for her.
and based on an image that she could see
Mm.
because there was an image of like a J-pop idol or something like that on one
Yeah.
of like these submerged like buses and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and that's what the form that she took.
Yeah. Which is really cool. I liked it.
Yeah,
Where else was I going to go with that? Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I thought the Undertakers, the bad team,
yeah,
um, I thought they were really cool. The way they use
very
technology.
chaotic, very very fun. I loved how unhinged they were without being like very overtly like malevolent.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. I thought they were very cool. Like they rely a lot on technology to secure their wins and scope out the competition and stuff. So yeah, I thought they were great sort of low key baddie. I think like you said, where maybe the movie kind of falls apart is introduce like a bigger bad after everything else had been resolved.
Yeah,
Um it introduced Uta's sister,
yeah. Well,
which
we've referred to her as sister, but that's probably
mm,
based on her now understanding of the story of the Little Mermaid.
yeah.
She's obviously seeing this other entity as like the sisters who wanted her to return to the ocean.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um, I think another thing this movie does quite well, and again, you may say I'm reaching, but I think it handles like a lot of sort of disabilities really well. I don't know if you picked up on that, but it's things like, um, I think his name's Shin, if I remember correctly, the slightly older
yeah,
parkour.
master.
Yeah, yeah. Who has like an artificial leg in this. And previously this Undertaker character um has to use like a device to communicate. They can't
Yes, uses a voice box.
verbally speak, yeah.
And Hibiki himself, he's obviously suffers from some sort of like um some sort of illness where he's obviously he gets so overwhelmed. And I did think like, is he like kind of is it suggesting that he's on like the spectrum?
Spectrum. Yeah, I thought the same
Because
as
he
well.
gets like so like when he was younger, he gets so overwhelmed by noise. Um,
Yeah.
which I've seen IRL with kids who are on the spectrum.
Hmm.
But I don't. It's like I said. It's. I think it's like it's showing them in this, but
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't explicitly like make that the whole thing about them, does
Yeah.
it?
No,
Like
I think you're right.
like the guy with the prosthetic leg. He's like you don't learn that he's got a prosthetic leg until like fairly like midway, maybe a little bit
Mm,
further into the movie, and you find out that it's because he tried to run Tokyo Tower, which is like the most dangerous spot in Tokyo now,
yeah.
um, and stuff. But like even then, like when even though he has this artificial leg, towards the end where he gets involved in helping Hibiki get to the Tokyo Tower like observation deck, like
Hmm.
he is like still he's like using parkour better than everyone else. Like he's out there like it was like watching Sasuke fight Naruto in his like tailed beast cloak at the end of the Naruto original run.
Yeah.
You know, when his Sharingan finally matures into like the 3 dots instead of the 2,
Yeah, I know what you
and
mean.
like the way that he's moving and dodging these bubbles and like these debris is like amazing.
It's a great sequence as well. And I I was kind of expecting the way he kind of propped himself ready for Hibiki to launch off him. I was like, that artificial leg's gonna explode from
Yeah,
like
because he's
the
obviously going to use
momentum.
those fancy high heels to boost himself.
To jet stream himself up. Yeah, I thought that was visually. I thought it was fantastic again.
It felt
And
like
yeah,
the climax, didn't it? It felt
yeah,
like this is it. This is the end. This is coming into the final act.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. I'd say some of the side characters obviously don't get a lot of screen time. They're just kind of there to reinforce things more than anything. Um,
Another reason why I think it would have been lovely if this could have been told as like maybe a 6 to 10 episode like
yeah,
series, because like I feel like all of the characters were really, really compelling. I
yeah,
feel like you find they're all orphans, the same as the MC,
yeah,
and you kind of like it would have been great to find out a little bit about how they came into Tokyo, because Tokyo is the only place that's enclosed in this bubble now, and
hmm
it's said that like the orphans came here to be free because
yeah.
there was no other place for them. So it's kind of like I would love to have like learned a little bit more about them.
Yeah, and like how they found each other as well. Now you've mentioned it. I think
Yeah,
a
like
little
how the
flashback.
team was formed, or like maybe
Yeah, I
something
think
about the other teams as well. It's like kind of
yeah. Because you know, Kai, for example, um, he probably has like the most out of all the sort of side characters, besides, as we mentioned before, Shin, and
Makoto.
the scientist Mugoto. But Kai sort of having this role as being the leader of the Blue Blaze, and essentially being the Lancer, isn't he? He's the Lancer
Yeah.
to Hibiki.
Yeah, but it's like when you mention Kai, it's like Kai's like got the most development compared to the other ones. But it's like
Mm,
towards the he makes mention in the movies like I know how to, because they live on this like old Coast Guard ship, and he's
yeah,
like he makes mention that he knows how to pilot the ship, he knows how to captain it,
yeah,
and then towards the end they have to use the ship to try and escape because this like the bubble fall starts again, and he basically says, why do you think I've been working on the ship the whole time? It's like I don't think it was ever shown at any point during the film that
no,
he was working on it, and I think that it would have been great to have some moments where you actually see him like maintaining the ship,
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
like stuff like
Um,
that.
Yeah, because I think you're right. Up to that point, he'd only kind of like boss people around in terms of like we can only ration this amount of food and things of that nature. Just doing sort of normal sort of leader stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
As well as hitting on Magato.
yeah, Makoto, yeah,
Oh, Makoto, sorry. But yeah, I the turning point of when it was the race against the Undertakers, and he does the sort of volleyball set position, and
yeah.
he launches Hibiki over the vortex.
And that was
I was like,
great
that was
character
really
development
cool.
for him as well, wasn't it? Because like he was
Yeah,
like, he finally was like, okay, I hate the way that this guy does things. I hate that he always goes off on his own. But right now, if we're gonna win, if we're gonna save Makoto, like
yeah,
we need him to be able to get there.
yeah,
And he made that choice as a leader to be like, I'm gonna stay behind, and you're gonna go.
yeah. And he's all about the team as well. Unlike
Mm.
Hibiki, like up to that point, well, even a little bit further on, it's not until later Hibiki's like, actually, yeah, you're right. I need the team behind me to do what I need to do.
Yeah,
But Kai has always been kind of forceful and like the team is what matters.
yeah. We're in this
So yeah.
together. Like we're not gonna,
Mm,
we're not able to win. We shouldn't be able to win unless we're working as a team. Whereas Hibiki's like consistently delivering them wins because he's just a much more talented like parkourist than the
yeah.
others are. Like because he's the only one who can consistently make use of the bubbles
Yeah.
to like traverse the lands.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I honestly, I think it's a fantastic movie. I think there is real depth to it. Um, Again, like I said before, based off my sort of interact. I can't get my words out. I think there's a depth to it that's underneath it all. I may be pulling, but I think this is really multi-layered, and I really liked the Red Lobster team that doesn't get shown a lot.
Yeah, I think that they would like to see, and it's another opportunity for some like exploration. I think that
Mm,
that was like my biggest issue with it, and it's like my only issue is that like they crammed so much into it, and it was like an hour and 40 minutes long. It wasn't short by any means, but they
yeah,
crammed so much into it that I kind of came away feeling a little bit unsatisfied because there were so many things that I wish they could have done. Like
hmm,
like I said, I wish that they could have gone into the other characters more. I wish they could have just gone into the whole like bubble fall a little bit more.
yeah,
Um, like it didn't like the story for what it was didn't
hmm,
feel rushed. I feel like it had a good cadence, but
yeah,
there was a lot that I I would I would expect,
yeah,
in a well told story, there's like you expect certain things to be hit on. You expect character development, don't you? You expect, especially if
yeah,
they've made these like really compelling side characters, you'd
yeah.
expect them to flesh them out a little bit. It's like seems a
Absolutely.
wasted opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I guess the other thing as well, like this is kind of like a one done sort of story as well, isn't it? I don't think
Yeah,
there'll ever be a sequel from it. I mean, you could probably do a sequel from it, but not in the same way that
yeah,
this story had a resolve at the end of it, regardless.
yeah. Because by the end of it, like the bubble, like the big bubble that surrounded Tokyo was gone.
Hmm.
And as a result, I think that the water was draining, like it was
Yeah,
able to drain outwards. And as a result, like um, Japan had started trying to rebuild Tokyo, hadn't they?
they had.
And,
Yeah, yeah,
like the battle call was continuing.
yeah,
Like it was continuing in this like this world without these gravitational anomalies now. Like so, I mean, they could do a follow up story. I don't think it would be anywhere near as fun though, because I
no,
think that the what made it fun was like there was always this element of danger to what they were doing.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. And there
So
was a mystery to be solved.
yeah, so but who knows? Maybe they'll look at what happens here. They'll look at the feedback they get, like see what the
Mm.
reviews are like, and then we're like, okay, well maybe we could make a series that is set during or before like
That's a
the
great
bubble
point.
actually
Yeah,
happens. Just like focus on the characters for a time. Maybe focus on like some of the maybe just focus on a completely different MC. Maybe focus
yeah,
on the pro, the guy who used to be
yeah.
like the best, and just like explore the world a little bit more.
Yeah, that's yeah, that could be really cool actually. Prequel or even the little kid, Usagami.
Yeah,
Um, Even if they were to do like where he grows up and he's in charge of the Blue Blaze, and it's just like I don't know, because the races were streamed by the Undertakers, weren't they? So what if
yeah.
like it becomes like an actual, you know, sporting event or festival or sort of thing? So I'm just thinking like maybe they just kind of balloon up like a tournament side of things. But
There's like if you I think that this is what makes it good is that they've kind of even if they don't do anything with it, I feel like
mm,
they could do so much with it if they chose to. I don't think they
mm,
will, but
no,
there's a
I don't
lot of
think they will.
promise. So, and I hope that this again, like with all great like animated movies that come out, like sets like this new benchmark for other studios to kind of like because in terms of quality, there's no denying that this is like some of like the best animation and like
Oh
most beautifully designed worlds I've seen in a
yeah,
while. So
abs. Oh yeah, it is just gorgeous to watch. I'm just going to jump over to the super chats. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to drop a comment. But in the super chats, Biffa says here, the guy with the robot-led exploding scene was my favorite.
It was so
Yeah.
good.
Highly agree with you there.
Well
the
shot.
way
Like
it was fantastic. So yeah, I highly agree with you there. And the music and everything else just added to it. So yeah, we're fans of that scene also. Cool. So I guess that's our review. Shall we save our sort of April update on anime for next time?
yeah, I don't wanna cram it in and get this episode being too long, you know. Keep it nice and condensed.
So make sure you're subscribed to your favorite podcast platform, of course, here at Undisputed Anime on YouTube. If you'd like us to review more anime movies, let us know in the comment section down below. Funny enough, Biffa here just says, please review Pompo and
the Cinephile.
Cinephile. Okay, cool. Yeah. We'll probably check those out and add them to our list. As I say, make sure to drop us any comments and reviews if you want us to check out more anime movies. And I guess our next episode will be giving you an update on what we're watching, what we're reading in spring, and give you an update on some recommendations. Bar that, keep it tight. Oh, also make sure you check out Undisputed Nerds, where we talk about comic books, movies, and TV shows. This week, we will be covering CinemaCon. It took me a second to remember there. So all the news that came out of CinemaCon. Mr. Susude, where can everyone follow you on your socials?
Right. Oh, it's always reversed. Right here. What hand's doing what? This one here. Right here. I'm pretty much that everywhere.
That everywhere.
I was like locked down that online IG a long time ago. So I'm sticking with it.
Got it.
You'll mainly find me reposting random stuff everywhere and never shitposting.
You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zane_Taicho. Yeah, drop me a follow, and of course, all the relevant links will be in the description down below. So, if you do want to subscribe to the YouTube channel or find us on your favorite podcast platform, it shall all be there. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for following, and we shall no doubt catch you on the next one.
Ooh.
Ciao for now.
Go touch some grass, kids.